You're tuned in to the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. Powerful ideas to rock your restaurant. Here's your host, Roger Bodwin.
Welcome back to the Rock Your Restaurant podcast. I'm your host, Roger Bodwin. Engaging topics to help restaurants build their brands, rock their profits, and deliver amazing guest service experiences. You know, my audience knows that I'm really all about systems and efficiencies. If you can save time and money in a restaurant, that's what it's all about. So today, I'm really excited to introduce my guest, Mr. Konstantin Zvereff, and he's from a company called BlueCart. And BlueCart is one platform that can really simplify your life, whether you're an owner in a restaurant, a manager, a chef, or if you're a supplier, you got to listen to this podcast. Hey, Konstantin, thanks for coming and joining me on the show today.
Roger, thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Well, this is super exciting for me because I ran restaurants for 20 years, Konstantin. My audience is well aware of my history and background. And I've been out of the business for several years now, but had I been aware of BlueCart when I ran restaurants, this is something that would have just made my life so much easier, and it would have allowed me to focus a lot more on all the other thousands of details in running restaurants. So that's why I'm really excited to talk about BlueCart. So before I get into BlueCart and what it does, let's talk a little bit about your restaurant background, how you got into the business, and where the idea from BlueCart came from.
Absolutely. So Jag and I both have restaurant experience. We both worked in the kitchen. And I, in particular, was an expediter. As you very well know, that is a position that is always on the hot seat, right? You're getting the knives from the kitchen and the yelling from the waitstaff. And nonetheless, that gave us the exposure to really get to know the industry, get to understand the challenges that it faces. So when we were approached during grad school by this restaurant chain to look at that operations project, we immediately jumped on it.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Now, again, expediting, I mean, what a job. I've been in that position a long time ago, and it's really the air traffic controller of the restaurant, but it's a natural progression now to just sort of coordinate all the back of house tasks and into one simple platform. So BlueCart is really a one-stop shop for suppliers and restaurants. So if you're a restaurant and obviously you've got to order food, you got to order alcohol, dry goods, numerous products across the board. And most restaurants, if you were anything like me, you had lots of different suppliers, lots of different invoices to keep track of. But now with one click, you can get it all in one platform does it all. So tell us a little bit more about how it works, Konstantin.
Absolutely. So within a given venue, you have multiple users of BlueCart. You might have the sous chef, the manager, the bartender. And what happens is that one of these individuals walks around doing their inventory. And after doing their inventory on their phone, on a tablet, right, a predictive order is built in the background based on your par levels, right? And once that inventory is complete, it can be reviewed by your manager. And at that point, you just click one button. Those orders are immediately parsed out by our system. They're sent to each one of your suppliers. These suppliers receive the orders. They see the order. At that point, you're informed as a buyer that they've received the order, that they've seen the order. You have that peace of mind, right? And it's essentially all that data is stored in your BlueCart account, such that you can use the BlueCart app to check in those orders as they're coming in through the back of the kitchen.
That's amazing. And it works on any device, whether you've got an iPad, whether you've got an iPhone, an Android, a desktop, a laptop. I mean, literally what you use, you can use the platform, correct?
That's an excellent point. Not only does it work on every single device, but it also works offline. Some of these kitchens, some of these other products that exist in the market, right? They're dependent on a Wi-Fi connection. Some of these wineries, they don't have the best data connection. So as a result, we have to develop a product that would fulfill our users' needs. So what we empower them to do is to do their inventory offline, do their ordering offline. The moment they pop up on a place where there's Wi-Fi, those orders can be sent out to your suppliers.
That is incredible. Now, most of the suppliers out there, no matter who they are or what suppliers you're working with now, chances are they're either on the platform or it's very simple for them to get on the platform. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right. So that essentially BlueCart works with all types of suppliers. That is, perishable goods like produce, meat, seafoods, dairies, your alcohol, your paper goods, wineries. And it works with suppliers of all kinds, even your linen goods, your Alsco, Syntent, and so forth, right? Now, what BlueCard empowers you to do is to work with these suppliers if they're on the platform or if they're not. So if they're in the platform, you just have to electronically connect, just like Facebook or LinkedIn. It's very, very fast. It takes 2 seconds. If they're not on the platform, what you do is you upload your inventory list, connect that list with your suppliers, right? And you can send them electronic orders. Through those orders, your suppliers will be notified that you're on BlueCard, and they'll be able to essentially start using BlueCard. Again, it's not going to cost you or them any money. It's one of these platforms that it's free to use for our entire user base, right? So there's a very strong incentive for both of them to join and start enjoying the BlueCard benefits. Yeah.
Not that you didn't have everybody's attention already with the power of the product, but when you say it's free and I could just get on board today and start using it, that really gets everyone's attention. Now, it's really 3 simple steps to actually get up and running, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. So essentially, you have to create, a business profile just to make sure that we know that what business you're running. And number 2, you just have to upload your inventory guide. So whatever products you might be using, you can upload those through Excel. It's a copy paste or PDF, whatever you might have, right? And then essentially enter your phone number to get a text message with the app so you can download it and start using BlueCard right away.
That's fantastic. I mean, simple, easy, and free. And everybody's on it. So it's also customizable per the restaurant or the supplier. Can you talk a little bit about what we can customize here with the platform to make it work better for the individual operation?
Absolutely. So that's a great point. So as you can imagine, the hospitality industry is a very complicated industry. As a result, our product had to be incredibly flexible to accommodate for all the needs that the bar has, right? Like broken cases, wine by the bottle, things of that nature, as well as the customization when it happens to produce, seafoods, catch weights, and all that type of those dynamics, right? So the product had to be incredibly customizable for the suppliers and for the buyers, right? So things like scheduling orders, building your order guide, setting up an order guide based on how your kitchen's laid out, how your pantry's laid out, how your fridge's laid out, how your bar's laid out. We enable you to essentially rearrange and organize products whichever way you want. And since all these products are already mapped to your suppliers, it doesn't really matter, how you move these products within BlueCard. We already electronically know that these products are mapped to a given supplier, so you can essentially customize the look and feel of the platform whichever way you want.
Nice. That's awesome. Now, it's often that you need to communicate a last-minute change to a supplier, or you needed a rush delivery or whatever it is. I mean, how quickly can you communicate instantaneously with that particular supplier?
Absolutely. So what we've built is we've built in-app communication. So what happens is that you can actually chat with every single one of your sales reps through the app. Mm-hmm. The beauty of this, if you can imagine, is that today what happens is that you'll send an order to your sales rep. You either call, punch it into a system or whatever system might be, right? And then you realize that you have to modify that order. You realize that you have to send a text message that's a rush order, whatever it might be. You call them, you send them a text message at WhatsApp, an email, whatever it might be, right? And these sales reps today, they have to memorize that message pertains to that order, that WhatsApp pertains to that order. They have to map all these things and keep it straight to ensure they're delivering high quality services, right? Through BlueCard, whenever you're communicating, that email or that message, that in-app communication, right? It's already mapped to a given order. So when they're fulfilling those trucks, when they're doing those pick tickets, when they're doing those delivery routes, all of that communication is already within the app. And they don't have to worry about sourcing where did that information come from.
That is also so easy and simple and great. Thanks, for sharing how the ins and outs works. Now, I mean, it just sounds so simple, but if someone has any sort of an onboarding problem, you also have tech support?
Absolutely. So if you come to BlueCard.com, you will immediately see that there's a chat box over there. We have a standby team that's available at all times to help you in the onboarding process. There should be no reason why somebody should be disenchanted by the onboarding process. If it seems too overwhelming, you can always send us your data via email at support@bluecard.com. We will do all the setup for you. We will do all the data entry for you, such that nobody should have to do any heavy lifting while setting up their own account.
Fantastic.
And this is probably why we're experiencing, this growth rate. Like we were discussing before the interview, right? We're adding a little bit over 150 new restaurants per day, right? And BlueCart is one of these platforms where the more people join, the richer the platform becomes, and the more useful it is, right? So that's why we're realizing that these invites are essentially like making us a much more valuable product for our users.
Now, we also talked about how this product is literally marketing itself, and your customers are marketing the product, because word is just taking off that this is incredible stuff. I mean, I'm getting it because I've been in the business so long. It's like instant that I want this product if I run a restaurant, or even if I have a supplier, you're just making the whole process so much more convenient for your customer, and it's really all about value added. How long have you been, when did the product launch? I mean, how old is it now?
We launched July 2014. Today we have a little bit over 20,000 venues in our platform. These include venues like Four Seasons, Ritz, Marriott's, Kaiser Permanente hospitals, retailers, restaurant groups like some of Jose Andres restaurants, all the way to mom and pop deli shops, right?
Yes.
And what we did is strategically we decided to invest a significant amount of time, resources in developing a high quality product to ensure that our users became our ambassadors, that the growth or the sales was essentially shifted to our user base and enabling them to spread the use of the platform for us.
That's great. So technology is really changing the industry, and you're right in the forefront of that. Do you really see products like this helping build a brand and make a restaurant more profitable? I mean, I get it.
Absolutely. So to that point, we did a study through BlueCart users and non-BlueCart users. We surveyed a little bit over 12,000 restaurant owners in the U.S. to try to quantify the benefits of BlueCart to our user base and really provide them a tangible, quantifiable ROI. Right? We realized that restaurants on BlueCart have 82% less return orders than restaurants out of BlueCart. We realized that restaurants on BlueCart have half of the food waste that restaurants that are not using BlueCart. And we realized that restaurants using BlueCart do their ordering in less than half every single week of the time, right? So in that sense, there's very, very hard evidence that BlueCart is really changing the dynamics of the industry in terms of food waste and time wasted, and number of return orders for the suppliers. You can imagine that's a very tangible ROI.
Oh, that's huge. That's accuracy right there. And minimizing waste, which I am a huge fan of. I mean, everyone is. There's too much waste in the restaurant industry, so you're helping eliminate that too. It just keeps getting better.
Thank you. We're definitely trying, as you can imagine.
So restaurants have all different types of cuisines and concepts and ethnic backgrounds of the people that run the restaurants and the chefs and the cooks that work in the kitchen. And this product really breaks down all those barriers and kind of transcends cultures. I mean, it really doesn't matter what kind of restaurant you run. It works for everything. Want to speak to that?
You're absolutely right. So what we very quickly noticed that, number one, this is a very diverse population, right? So we have to make sure that, one, we accommodate for the way that this industry does business, to the point that we actually had to translate the platform into multiple languages. We're starting to have user base overseas. Some of it is very significant. So as a result, the platform had to make sure that we were responsive to those user requirements, right? So now we have, BlueCart in Spanish, so they can actually transact using their own language, BlueCart in French, and so forth, right?
So it's really a global product, and it's got potential all over the world.
Exactly.
Even though you launched here in America, and it's just going. You're in Canada as well, I'm sure.
Correct. Canada, and the UK, in France, in Australia, all over Europe.
So you're already global.
So, yes.
Where do you go next, Konstantin? I mean, right now it's like you've got a product that's turning the industry upside down.
It's a good point. Our biggest nightmare as a company is hearing about another supplier developing their own mobile app or their own e-commerce platform or ordering platform, right? As you can imagine, And, some of these suppliers, they just don't know about the existence of BlueCart, and as a result, they spend significant amount of money developing those platforms, right? It's very expensive to develop your own mobile app. So the challenge with that, Roger, is that if every single supplier develops their own mobile app, right, what we're doing is just replicating today's problem into a different technology, right? As a buyer, you would have to download 17 different apps to place 17 different orders, right? So if we can get the community to sensitize our suppliers that, there's no need to develop your own app. Take a look at BlueCart. BlueCart is there. BlueCart is free. BlueCart fulfills your needs, right? And that's what we're aiming at. We're trying to make sure that nobody invests in their IT and infrastructure costs when we exist, right?
So let me ask you something. It's free for the supplier. It's free for the restaurant. So how does BlueCart make money?
We monetize through a number of ways. And just like LinkedIn, right? BlueCart is absolutely free. And we present sponsored content to our free user base, such that we can monetize on this free users. People like Square, like National Restaurant Association, will use our platform to present content to our users. This content is in the form of banner ads, and it's in the initial dashboard. So the moment that they navigate away from the dashboard, these ads disappear, right? So they're non-intrusive, and they're curated by us to ensure that we protect our users, that there's no challenges when it comes to what type of content they're seeing. It's something that is non-intrusive, right? And then if they want to do additional services, such as inventory management, such as menu costing, such as trucking routes, delivery routes, pick tickets, if they want to do, for example, we build a CRM for our suppliers, so they can manage all the portfolio of clients, right? Those are sold at a premium service with a subscription model, yeah.
Is there any change to the invoicing system if you're using BlueCart? And let's just say you've got 5 different suppliers, one click, you're sending out your orders. They're still delivering the invoice with the orders like they always did, or however you're used to getting the invoices. There's no real automation to that piece. Is that correct?
It depends. So if the supplier is on BlueCart, we're essentially shifting to a paperless system, right? So at that point, what happens is that you send an order, right? That supplier receives this order. Instead of writing a pick ticket or whatever system they might have, they essentially receive the order through BlueCart. They can edit that order. You're informed that that order's been edited. That delivery truck comes. You have BlueCart where you check in that order. That order is finalized through you. You know who checked in that order at your restaurant, and that becomes an invoice. Okay, so that becomes payable, right? And so in that sense, it depends on how engaged that supplier might be, but you have the ability to run BlueCart all the way to the point of invoice. In the next 2 months, we're going to enable payment processing, where a restaurant is going to be able to pay their invoices through BlueCart and connect that with their accounting software.
I'm glad I asked. What another great, fantastic feature. Does it also integrate with point-of-sale systems and also software, your accounting software?
That's going to be the part of our next release. We're going to be connecting with point-of-sale systems, such that as you realize sales, you start building that predictive cart.
That's fantastic. And then that all falls right into the whole inventory process, and then the whole thing just becomes so much simpler.
Exactly. Essentially, what we're doing is giving restaurants data back to the user, right? Such that these restaurant owners, these operators have access to their own data, right? What if they could see the amount of food waste that they have every week? What if they could see the amount of perishability, of theft, of the different levels that happen throughout the day, right? When you connect POS, purchasing, and inventory, right, and all these 3 systems start communicating with each other, what you have is this unprecedented transparency into your own data.
And now you can interact with the customers and make friends with them every night because you're not in the back of the house stuck in paperwork, right?
You're absolutely right.
That's fantastic. Oh, if only I could go back 20 years if you saw my desk, all right? It got better, but I didn't have BlueCart, and I wish I did. Konstantin, this has been fantastic. Is there anything that we didn't cover that the audience needs to know about BlueCart? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I just want to reiterate that, number 1, BlueCart is free. Number 2, if the onboarding process at any point seems too much, shoot us an email. We'll do all the heavy lifting for you. You should only enjoy the utilization of BlueCart. So just spread the word.
Okay, so how can they get BlueCart right now? Go to your website. Tell us your URL.
Absolutely. Go to BlueCart.com, click create an account, and you're up for business.
Boy, what could be easier than that? Free, one click, all your suppliers, and just go to the website and you're on board just today. Literally in minutes, you could be up and running with BlueCart. That is awesome. You know, what a great app you've got, Konstantin. I've really enjoyed having you as a guest. I mean, again, it just blows me away that this can be this simple and that you can take something so complex in the back of the house that most restaurant owners and chefs just don't want to deal with, and you can just make it a snap. Way to go.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. I really appreciate my guest today, Mr. Konstantin Zvereff. He's from BlueCart. Go to BlueCart.com and get BlueCart today. I think this is a fantastic product. Thanks for joining me, Konstantin.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Absolute
Restaurant Rockstars. We'll see you again next time.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. And while you're there, download a copy of the book, Rock Your Restaurant. It's a game changer. See you next time.